approval of June warrants.
Okay, Julie was going to be here with the warrants list. You know, it's like I said, we have a special circumstance going on right now where the warrants list is not completed. She will have it completed after tomorrow. Therefore, she asked the board to give some consideration to her situation, and therefore, to approve the June warrants would be to follow the following, move to pay the following bills for the June 2011 warrants. Give Ms. Mason and Mr. McGee the authority to pay those bills. And so, if you just grant the authority to Mr. McGee and Mrs. Mason to pay bills and encumbered monies that are identified as expenditures for the remainder of the 2010-2011 school year. So that basically, she's asking that authority for final expenditures of 2010-2011 be extended to include the June warrants and the July warrants that are coming forward.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Could, in the meantime, could we have those new warrants emailed to us?
Yes. So, when she's finished entering them all tomorrow, you can go ahead and have that emailed to me.
Any other discussion? Call for the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
She's asked to table her year-to-date expenditures and encumbrances report, and she would tell you where she stands with each of those accounts, and she will present that at the next board meeting.
Okay, so when we get down to, that's going to take the next, the approval of July warrant. So now we're down to handbook? Okay.
We have two handbooks that we're here to have presented. Mrs. Hull's elementary handbook and the co-curricular handbook.
So Ms. Hella.
And I think that the handbook that you got at the last board meeting had the red changes, and I don't know if you got have red changes in hand. So basically, I just updated the staff, which I'll have to continue to update after tonight's board meeting. And then, just adjusted on page 3 when we're having our conferences for this year's calendar. Page 4, just updated the FCPT from, it was called PAC, it's now
Okay,
Florence Carlton.
Can I ask a question? I know this is kind of dumb. How come they changed it? I mean, was PAC, wasn't it the organization that was in the elementary? Why did it change to this then?
Because it was pretty much all of those parents went up to the middle school. And
But
at
the
time that
parents
they
moved, but why
changed
did the name have to change?
Well, I think that the people in the incoming group wanted to include, parents, teachers, and everyone.
Have they
And
gone
felt that
through the
the
process
PAC
of, what they have to get approval for tax-free or 501c3, all that?
We didn't, yeah, the previous group didn't have that either. They didn't have their
At one
501c status.
We had, I know it came through our office one time that they were doing that.
Well, I mean, that was just a
We were just
question.
umbrella, but yeah, no, they wanted a fresh start with, and they wanted the organization to reflect teacher input, not just parent. And there were, at their first meeting, there was a lot of discussion about.
That would be a good note, a good thing on Facebook, because there's probably a lot of people who have been
Actually,
very used to PAC. I mean,
They originally called themselves the Florence Carlton PTA, and PTA got wind of it.
It's a national organization.
And said, if you're gonna call yourselves that, you have to pay your dues.
Right.
So,
Do you have to get a nonprofit thing for it,
for
for the organization?
well, we don't use any, we umbrella under the schools.
Oh,
Because there isn't really anything that we do, but,
okay, well, that was just a question I had. I
Yeah.
just didn't know why they had changed the name.
yeah, they changed it just to
Okay.
reflect that they
New
wanted
volunteers
everybody.
wanted a new name.
Well, okay, but you know, that's like changing Booster Club's name,
Right.
because you've got a new
Yeah.
group of people.
Right.
I mean, I'm not, I mean, we
Yeah.
want them to volunteer, and if
Mhm.
changing the name is, but I think that would be something that needs to, that's gonna be a question for some people. Well, what happened to PAC? Well, we do have PAC, only now it's called
FCPT.
the, yeah,
And they've run
FCPT.
into a little bit of that.
So So what do you want to call Booster Club?
Well, I don't know, what do we call it?
I'm just the grocery shopper for
Page
Booster
It was
five.
Booster Club when I was in Booster Club, so I don't know now.
Athletic
Okay, I'm sorry,
boosters or
didn't mean to get off you or whatever. Okay.
Okay, on page 5, just clarified a little bit, as far as allowing half-day kindergartners to attend special events such as field trips and practice for the music program and things like that. On page 6, we have just an adjustment to the lunch schedule, and then a major adjustment to the dismissal time for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. They'll now be dismissed at 3:18 rather than 3:10.
I'm talking about the high school dismissed. 3:18?
3:15.
3:13.
We're on the same schedule as the middle school.
Okay.
Except
our start time is at 8:15. Your start time?
No, our start times stay the same. So K-5 will still start at 8:20, but 3, 4, and 5 will end at 3:18, the same time as the middle school. And K2 will still get out at 3:10. There's no change
And
there.
those adjustments were made because of the
Because
days
of
off on
the
Friday.
Friday time, we ended up being short for 4th and 5th grade for contact time. So we had to adjust 4th and 5th grade to accommodate those PIR Fridays.
Okay.
And then we just added 3rd grade in there because I felt that it was 8 minutes it's 8 more minutes of teacher instruction time. And the caveat too is now my 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders have to hustle to the bus. And so maybe we'll have less behavior problems in that 8 minutes between the time that they get out of school and they catch the bus. And then I added just something specific about cell phones. Thought we had a suggestion at the last one. It was good to kind of clarify cell phone usage in the elementary. It hasn't been a huge problem, mostly just the camera use on the cell phone. And a lot of our kids don't have actual working cell phones. They have, with the buyout from AT&T, we have a lot of non-use cell phones that still have some nuisance capability. On page 15, just updated some electronic language. And then under miscellaneous, at the request of our school nurse, kind of just a note to parents about possibility of having nut or nut products in the bake sale.
Did you see that bake is not spelled correctly?
Oh, is it?
There's an E gone.
Thank you.
I thought Dorothy would, I gotta
Oh,
jump
I
right on
noticed
that,
that.
because if Dorothy would beat me to it.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, as far as that.
Okay.
And then on page 16, just clarifying a little bit of the personal property language. And for allergy purposes, on page 18, we had to add a section on not allowing latex balloons. We have a couple of students with severe latex allergies, so. And we also have that posted on the school, so.
I wonder on that bake sale thing, if you shouldn't say, please be aware that baked goods may contain nuts.
Okay.
The way I read it, like it has it, is you're telling the parents, it's okay to put nuts and stuff in
Okay.
things you bake, where I think it should be a warning. So like, please be aware
Okay, that's a good suggestion.
that baked goods may contain nuts or nut products.
And then not in this, I plan to add the same language that Mrs. Backus has in the middle school handbook about MBI and our goals. And also, the MBI team is in the process of updating our discipline referral form. And so we'll include a copy of that so parents know what the discipline referral form looks like. We'll include that in the handbook as well, once it gets in its final copy.
That's a very nice handbook, I think.
Co-curricular handbook, Mr. Grabowski?
Not a whole lot of changes in there, actually. The only thing that I did change is made sure that the grade check matched what was in the student book. just made sure it all matched up, so if it does come up, parents understand it, if they're reading one thing or the other, they're not getting confused or I'm not getting confused.
I have a really dumb question. What's it's forensics is listed here. What is-
Forensics?
Is that your speech and debate?
That was speech and debate, so it's
Okay.
just stated in there, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
That's it. And then I did get word that, I think in the July, school board meeting, they'll have the cross-country on their agenda.
They have a July meeting.
How long has the activity fee, prices been at the levels they're at right now?
Since I've been here.
I wonder if in the near term, or if that, we should ever think about raising those at all.
Possibility we may need to consider. The activity account has actually been fairly healthy the last couple of years, so there's not as big a need in that area. You will find though, in the hot lunch program, we're probably gonna have to talk about the need to raise prices in our hot lunch program. Last year, we were carrying about a $16,000 balance in that fund account. This year, we're gonna only carry about a $3,000 balance. So you'll see in hot lunch that it's gone down as a result of the inflationary costs of buying produce and product for the kitchen.
What would the,
So, to have an activity fee increase in the hot lunch for that is probably good to have that discussion at the August board meeting.
do uniforms and things come out of that activity? No.
So what are we using the money for again? Just refresh?
Well, what the activity fee is paid for, it goes into the activity accounts. So when we get gate receipts and all that money goes into there also, that account is to pay for referees, to make sure that all the referees are paid for throughout the year. And then there are other types of things that we pay. What are some of the other issues?
Well, like referees, and then it balances out our accounts, our accounts that are in the negative. At the end of the year, we take the activity receipts and balance, and makes them zero, we make them zero.
So like if football was an expensive year because, let's say they took off and made the playoffs. One year they traveled up to Glasgow. Well, a trip like that can put you in the negative fairly quick.
Less than that.
What ends up happening in that situation is that account will run in the negative at the end of the year. The activity receipts and the activity fees and everything go to balance that account out. So then we balance everything out, and at the end, we're left with hopefully a positive reserve. In the last few years, we've been pretty healthy in those accounts.
The first year that I came here, money had to be taken out of the general fund to balance that out, but it hasn't had since.
And another thing that's been very beneficial, well, boys basketball has been very beneficial to us the last couple of years because Pueblo up here, Pablo, has done a very nice job of holding tournaments, and we've been getting good receipts returned from that tournament. So it's helping to pay a little bit. And the state tournament in Great Falls has been very beneficial also, where we've been getting monies back to put into that activity account. But like you say, at the end, we're not making money. We're not fat cats here. We're just paying the bills. If we ever have a year where everybody decides to go to state at the same time and everybody decides to win a state championship, it's gonna hit us hard.
Where do uniforms come out of?
We have a uniform rotation schedule and it comes out of the general fund.
Okay.
I got a really stupid question.
So there is no such thing as a.
This one is. Does it seem to you, and you would know, are more kids allergic to nuts than ever before? Or is this a new phenomenon?
Oh, you're not.
Actually, I
Huh?
have not.
I told you.
I think people are more aware of it. I haven't seen more of it, no, not in my business.